Mr. D. Bing, shada. Okay. We've got ourselves the infamous, legendary Gray 300. The notes that come along with this thing say, high SWR between radio and amplifier. Please upgrade power wires, remove high, low, medium, and make it other repairs. If it looks questionable, repair, replace. Make upgrades that you feel necessary. Dun, dun, dun. It's a smart move getting rid of this thing. This is the weakest link out of them all. Now in the same breath, this part here, let's go over here and get some zooming action going on. This part here is in absolutely wonderful condition. Normally when we see these, they're like refried dog poop. Because guys used to just drive the bejesus out of these little things. We're going to take this out in one smooth motion. We're going to reuse your high, medium, and low knob here. Knob, and we're going to replace it with the variable. But as I have covered in many YouTube videos in the past, the input tune on these things is wacko. We don't know what they were shooting for, but they have it buried completely behind all these resistors. So we're going to replace this with a variable, as you requested on the phone. And, well, we're going to make modifications. Have faith. First off, before we go any further, second and then third and then last and then of course always second, not to be considered first or 1 second, third passed. Let's do better. I propose that we slide this combiner up just a little bit and we bring our power wire over and we attach it right here. That way both two-pill sections get the same amount of current potential and voltage potential. Because right now as it sits, this is getting all the fun, love, happy juice, and this is getting the sloppy second hand-me-downs with holes in the t-shirt. So we're going to take and replace these two little tiny wires with much more significant, can carry 50 amps worth of shmoo much more efficiently. This is a very deceiving amplifier, you guys. It's got a preamp in it, which probably doesn't work because they were shit. It's got sideband delay and AM FM. Okay, this is an AM only amplifier. This here, this little guy right here, see this? That transformer is 100% to ground. So that means it is a Class C AM only piece of equipment. Now, I forgot to ask you when I was on the phone, Mr. D, if you wanted me to bias this for sideband or not. I'll call you back. Just saying. I got the tin all straightened out. These corners are all bent to shmoo. And the guys back in the day, they were kind of onto something here. They pop ribbited everything into place. So we're going to go ahead and get those pop ribbits popped out. But we do have a little bit of a war wound going on here. Only affects one fin. Don't worry, I'll straighten that out. It'll look like shmoo when I get it back to you. I'll even go and I'll squirt a little bit of paint on here and I'll make the tin look all pretty again. So have faith, the madness has begun. Okay, so we did our power wire upgrades. Put a couple ferrites on here. It'll help a little bit, not a lot. Not like I could do 2 or 3 passes. That'd actually do some good, but we got it center fed. And we're gonna start out on low for a reason. Let's do this first. Okay, preamp works. Preamp works. The preamp works. Okay, let's shut this off. And we're going to do a lot of hopping between that meter and that meter. So let's get zoomed in here. Let's get our white balance set because we're going to do a lot of hopping. Okay, so this is the bench radio. The 2950 does about 10 or 15 watts on 12 volts. We're on 12 volts. Hello, audio. Okay. This is our pass-through. Otherwise, our ability to talk through the amplifier unimpeded. Go back and take English class again. Gosh darn. Hello, audio. So we're putting a few watts through it, and we're getting about 1/4 of a watt and reflect back. So now, let's go over here. Let's turn the amplifier on, and we're in low. Hello, audio. Now remember, we're down here on 12 volts. Hello, audio. 35 amps. Hello, audio. Let's go up here. And let's look at our input tune. Hello, audio. Almost a full watt. And it's buried behind this resistor pack on this gray. You gonna catch up, focus? Ah, yay, you did it all on yourself, camera. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the next stage, which is mid. All right. Now we're on mid. Hello, audio. I got a watt, about 300 watts coming out. Remember, that's all this amp is rated to do. Hello. Now we're up over 1/2 watt. Not shockingly too bad. So let's go on down here one more time. Let's go to high. Okay. Hello. About 330 watts on high. Hello. 2¼ watts coming back with only 10 going in. And we're not even topped out yet. Let's go to max. Hello. About 360 watts peak. Let's go over here. Hello. Now, isn't that interesting? Let me lock this down so the camera doesn't wander away on us here. Where are you going? Where are you going, big girl? Turn the drag down a little bit. Okay. So this is max. Hello. Now let's go back to high. Hello. We'll go back to max. Hello, audio. So what the watt meters are telling us is, because remember, the input circuit on this amplifier is buried behind this pack of resistors. So everything affects everything, and everything is everything, right? If I go and I adjust these two cans, these two capacitors, variable capacitors that are here, I can radically change these transformers' responses to the input signal. How does that work? Well, the RF affects everything, it's everything. So its ability to have an output resonant circuit affects the input's ability to be resonant for the input power. The other thing, there's no flybacks inside this amp. The flybacks are a neat little electronic trick. A flyback, its primary job is to take whatever power doesn't go into the transistor and dissipate it through the resistor, heading in the appropriate direction towards the output circuit. It also acts as a filter and a couple other different small devices, but its main thing is to help protect the transistor from overdrive. little disc capacitor blocks the DC voltage that's sitting here on this transformer, and the resistor acts as a load between the output transformer and the input resonant field of the input transformer. Very simple. I like using 5 watts because big is better. It's not necessary. You can really get away with using like 1 or 2 watt resistors in this flyback position. You're taking a little bit of overdrive and you're getting rid of it. That's not really what's going on here. The output tune can be off a little bit. These can be off a little bit from just years. There's no pain or anything, nothing to hold these screw sets in place. So vibration could have moved them. But it's primarily that the inputs on these things suck. They always have. Every one of these I've ever looked at, we've had to go in and make huge adjustments. So, our RF comes in, we've got a resistor that goes to ground, and we got a whole resistor pack here that splits, divides, or resists the incoming RF to the input circuit. We are going to remove this. And I want you to see what radically changes when we go from this to just simply this circuit. You're going to be like, whoa, what? If I was to bypass this resistor pack completely, that meter would be bink in the corner every time I want to modulate. We're hiding a bad input design behind an attenuator. Never seen that before, have we, Gray, Palomar, Messenger, a couple others. Just saying. Okay. So what we have, why do I keep falling to the side? There, that'll help. Oh yeah. So here we have the stock wiring configuration, then a variable. So this is going to be all the way up. That's going to be all the way down. We want to keep this all the way up. Whoop. Okay. So we're going to check this all the way up. Same as before, same voltage and everything. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now remember on high, we were seeing 2 watts worth of reflect with 10 watts going in. It's the same setup. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. Yeah, your eyes aren't deceiving you. It's falling. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. There isn't a radio on this earth that isn't going to be happy with that. So, let's reach down here. Widen this up for a second. And I gotta get down on my hands and knees to even access this stupid thing anymore. Here we go. 1, 2. We'll turn our voltage up. Let our super caps kind of charge up. Ow. Oh. Okay. Super caps are now charged. Let's go back over. Let's take a look at the watt meter. Shut the amp off again. Hello, audio. 22 watts, give or take. Hello, audio. 1, 2, 1, 2. Nice, smooth, sexy 480, 490 watts, huh? Hello, audio. 1, 2. Let's go up here. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. Telling you, it's like magic. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll run this all the way down. So we're going to start out with a variable at its lowest point, and we're going to run it up to its highest point. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. Now let's repeat that process over here and show you how that affects the output. Turn the variable all the way down. All the way up. It's cresting on 500 watts. Now let's go ahead and let's show it to you with me actually doing the motions. Turn a variable all the way down. Audio. Replicable results. Replicable results. The more I measure this, the more shocked I am with how well this turned out. So we're at 250 or 264 meg from zero. So a pretty significant chunk of the band. That's our amplifier. Here's the radio. Do we have a cold solder joint? Did that just show up? Okay. That's the amplifier. That's the radio. That's the amplifier. That's the radio. That's the amplifier. Hello, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. We can see a little tiny bit of dirt, but it's 46 dBms down from the principal. Have to turn that on to be able to check this out. To properly tune these cans on top of the output transformers, I have to use a spectrum analyzer. And I figured I might as well show you how clean the power is. Hello, audio. We didn't sacrifice a drop of performance. We just tightened up the amp's frequency response to make it clean. We don't want to be bothering anybody out of band. Now that's one motivation. My motivation, by changing that around, oh man, I'm losing it over here. Come here. Hold on a second, let me show you what I'm doing. I'm getting ready to paint these and lock them in place. Well, my beautiful, wonderful teenage daughter supplies me with my paint. Of course, all she's got is, you know, the Miss Artiste of the house, award-winning artist, by the way. Proud of that fact. Is fingernail polish. And this can't have any metal bases to it. None. Okay? And all we're using it for is a telltale. I've always used black paint, but I use a special kind of black paint. It glows a little different when you put it underneath fluorescent light. That's all I'm going to say about that. So if I send this off to the guy and he says he has problems with it and then he sends it back, not saying that he's going to do anything like this, but it's just an overall procedure that we all do. If he comes in here and messes with these cans, one, he breaks the paint. If he tries to put his daughter's black fingernail polish on it, I can tell by putting a little infrared light on it, or black light on it. Its primary reason is to keep everything locked in place. And you'll find that these cans are screwed almost completely down. I mean, it's not loose. So, that's it. One other thing I like to do with these old grays is I got to contact him and see if he wants me to do this or not. As I like to put a fan on them. In the day, no one really cared about how hot these got. The transistors were relatively cheap. Now they're really stupid expensive. These Motorola MRF 455s, they're not cheap anymore. That's money right there. You're talking the real legit Motorola transistors. That's $150 a transistor in there. So $600 worth of transistors in this gray. And these things run a little hot. I mean, let me show you what I mean. Just from me sitting there tickering around with it on the bench. Ooh, picture-in-picture time. Let's wait for this thing to boot. I mean, it's showing me 90 degrees. But you can very clearly see, I mean, it left a heat imprint on the towel. And the heat sink is really toasty. And that's just from a couple minutes of playing with it on the bench. Of course, the hottest thing in here is the bleed resistor for the LED for on. It's at 106 degrees. But when these go into operation, because they're only about a 60% efficient part, the rest of the other 40% of power goes up in heat. Hello. Why are we not taking pictures? I had this plugged into the computer last night and I did an update on it and I forgot to pull the battery and hard boot it. So anyhow, 60% efficient. So the other 40% of energy consumed by the transistors goes up in heat. It's 60, depending on how well you tweak the circuitry around a component, anywhere from the bottom end being 60 to the top end maybe being about, on a good day, with a unicorn sprinkling fairy dust on your fingertips, you might get up to 71% maybe. Hello, 1, 2. Hello. Okay, so we started out at about 80 degrees, and that jumped right on up to in the 120s, which I'll insert that picture now, and you guys will see what I mean. It's really quite important to get some airflow running across these. For years, people would just set these like on their carpet in the floor of their vehicle underneath the seat, and they'd get 2 or 3 years out of them, then it would break, and they'd throw them away because it wasn't worth really getting them repaired, because they'd cook themselves to death. So to get the maximum amount of life out of this thing, I really, really want to put a fan on it. And let's see what Mr. D's got to say. Well, I called Mr. D. He says, man, I'm going to barely use this thing. It's going to sit in the trunk of my car. I'm going to use it every randomly once in a while. You really think it needs a fan? I was like, well, as long as you promise to me that you'll set it on its lid so the heat sinks are up. And he goes, deal. He goes, the guy that had it before me, every time I talked to him on sideband, he'd sound like he was Donald Duck. And I was like, yeah, it's because it's not biased for sideband. He goes, can you make it sideband capable? Poof, sideband capable. Okay, so now I got bias in it. So it's a gray 300 with bias in it. Hello, audio. Didn't affect the performance at all. Hello, audio. So now, let me come down here. And he told me that his car runs at bleed off our power supply here. This car runs at 14.2 volts. So 14.2 with about 22 watts of drive. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. Does right around 400 watts, man. It is fully set up for sideband. Fully set up for sideband. All you do is flip the switch up to sideband and you're good to go. Hello, 1, 2. That's AM. Sideband. Hello, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2. What we're paying attention to is how long the relays are dragging, by the way. So when we go on sideband, like right now, hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The relays don't chatter. Where hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Little momentary drag. That's all we want. Just click. We start talking, and between our words, the relays aren't going. So all relays moving. Preamp off. Sideband delay. Well, man, we are done. Now, in that same breath, Just got this all painted up and nice and pretty again. It sits this way. So, walk over here, grab one of these. Done. Let me get some screws. We'll send this out of here. All right, Mr. D, you're all set. I hope you have fun with it. Hope you go terrorize the guys on Sideband with it. Enjoy. It's spectrally clean. It does more than it's supposed to. The input tune has been fixed. The variable has been replaced. It's got bias in it, and it's got power wire upgrades. So I think my job, my time and tyranny here on this one is done. Gentlemen, my name is BBI, and I say thank you, and I'll see you